Hey guys, this is Sharwan from Inside GST and this is the query time where I reply to your queries which you guys ask me on the comment section down below. A lot of videos and I replied it by way of separate video. So I love this kind of a video where I reply to your queries which you guys ask me on the comment section. And it's really cool. The query is really cool, so I decided to give the answer by way of separate video so that a lot of people can educate about those queries into their mind. Alright guys, so now without wasting the time, I should start the query session. Now the first question is of Rajkumar Agarwal. He is asking, Mr. A takes the GTA service and later recover it from Mr. B while issuing the tax invoice for supply of goods in form of a transportation cost. Who will be liable to pay tax under reverse charge for GTA, Mr. A or Mr. B? So Mr. A takes the GTA service and he recover it from Mr. B by way of writing transportation cost on the below of the tax invoice and he is recovering from Mr. B. Now his question is, who will be liable to pay tax under reverse charge in respect of GTA service, Mr. A or Mr. B? So first of all, Mr. A is receiving the GTA service. He is a recipient of GTA service. So therefore, it's very obvious that Mr. A will be liable to pay tax under the reverse charge. No doubt about that, because Mr. A is a recipient and if he is charging the GTA service cost like Mr. A, GTA service cost is of Mr. A and obviously he will recover it from Mr. B. So while recovering it, if you are writing like transportation cost down below the tax invoice, then it will be treated as your composite supply and you have to also include it while calculating your taxable value, and tax rate would be the same as it would be mentioned for the principal supply, and the principal supply would be like the supply of goods. So therefore that's how it will work. The liability to pay tax under GST or liability to pay tax under reverse charge in respect of GTA service will be of Mr. A, who is a recipient. If Mr. A is recovering the cost from Mr. B, doesn't matter for the reverse charge. Mr. A is a recipient, he will be liable to pay tax under reverse charge. Next question, Mandeep Verma. Hi Mandeep. Can we use delivery challan for sales return material? So yes, delivery challan is required in case of a 4 condition. So third condition, which is given in rule number 55, sub rule number 1, clause number C, says that you can issue the delivery challan for transportation of goods for reason other than by way of supply. So sales return is the transportation of goods other than by way of reason other than the way of supply. So because you know that the sales return is not a supply, so while you are transporting the goods relating to sales return to the original supplier, then no need to issue tax invoice. You just need to issue only delivery challan and it will cover under rule number 55, sub rule number 1, clause number C, where it says that you can use or issue delivery challan in case of a transportation of goods for reason other than by way of a supply. Next question, Ojas Thakrar. Is it compulsory to mention the name of each and every unregistered dealer in reverse charge mechanism tax invoice to be uploaded in the GSTR 2? Or I can raise a summarized invoice with the head purchase from unregistered dealer person and upload the same name into GSTR 2. Please guide. So he has a 2-3 question into the one question. First one, he is asking like it is mandatory to or compulsory to mention each and every name into the tax invoice which the recipient is required to issue in case he purchases goods from unregistered person and he is liable to pay tax under reverse charge. So yes, it is required to mention the name, but in case because you have the option under first proviso to rule number 46 to issue the summarized tax invoice, summarized invoice at the end of the month. So you know that your purchase can be lot like 100 or 200, 300, 400. So is it possible to write every single name of the person, unregistered person, into the single invoice? No, it is not possible. So you have the two options. First, you can attach an annexure with the tax invoice where you can mention the name of those unregistered dealer if you know, because in some case there will be not at all name, like in case of a rickshaw or in case of a tea service like tea, chai. So how can you mention the name? So therefore in lot of cases there will be no name. So as far as you know, as far as you can mention like in the annexure the list of those unregistered person if you know about it. or otherwise you can simply write like purchase from unregistered person into the tax invoice which you issued in case of a reverse charge, like at the end of the month summarize tax invoice. You can do both the thing, and no need to mention every single name of the person, unregistered person, into one single invoice. The next question he is asking is like and upload the same into GSTR1. Like he's asking like or I can raise a summarized invoice with the head purchase from unregistered person and upload the same name into the GSTR2. So he's asking like upload the same name into GSTR2. So for your record, in GSTR2 you don't need to mention the name of the recipient, the name of the supplier, sorry. In case you are under the reverse charge, you have to fill the table number 4 of GSTR2, not GSTR1, and in that table there is nowhere to return like the name of the supplier, so therefore no need to mention the name of the supplier. And also one more fact, when you will issue the invoice, like summarize invoice at the end of the month, you have to give the detail like mention the nature of purchase, and then mention also the amount of purchase, and also mention the tax rate in respect of each and every single item which you purchase during that month. So you can group it with the nature of purchases, but yes, you have to like you have to give the detail of nature of purchase, every single nature of purchase, and every single nature of purchase against those also amount and also the tax rate. So you can do this thing, but it is mandatory, like you have to give a detail of nature of purchase, amount, and the tax rate also in respect of every single item which you purchase from unregistered person. Next question, Anand Swaroop is asking, does supervision of construction of rail track amount to service in relation to immovable property? So in my view, yes, I think it is a supply directly in relation to an immovable property, and it you can check it out like where the question came from. It came from like the place of supply of service provision, which is under the IGST Act. So yes, this thing I think is a supply directly in relation to the immovable property, and the place of the supply will be where the immovable property is located. So in the rail track, like where the rail track is situating. So that's how it will work. And if you already are a supplier service, so because before GST the service tax law is also applicable, so in that case also the place of supply of service was there, like POPs rule, I think place of provision of service rules are there. So in that case, similar cases there, like in case of a service in relation to immovable property, you have to give like your service might be earlier also categorized in those cases. So same principle is applying in the GST. So whatever treatment you used to doing into the service tax, please do the same treatment into GST. That's how it will work. So I think it is my personal opinion that it is a supply directly in relation to immovable property. You should calculate, or means you should find out your place of supply accordingly. Next question, Abhay Srivastav is asking, sir, can you tell me how to make entry of expense in Tally with amount less than 5,000 rupees and without reverse charge? So for the accounting entry in Tally for amount less than 5,000 without reverse charge, the entry would be real simple, without any complication or without any interruption of the reverse charge. So simple entry would be there, like if you are purchasing something and it is your expense, then expense account debit to cash or creditor, no entry of reverse charge, because itself you are saying without reverse charge. So without reverse charge there will be no complexity, and I don't know why you asked this, but no entry, no special treatment regarding the reverse charge. So simple entry would be there. Next question, Tapasya Bakshi, what proof to be submitted in case of export of service as there is no shipping bill in service for availing the refund? So she is asking like in case of export of service we don't have a shipping bill, so what to give as a proof for availing the refund? So first of all, let me just tell you about the procedure regarding to take the refund in case of export of service. So first of all, you have to fill the form GST RFD01, fill out that form. But when you will fill that form, and if you will check out the format of GST RFD01, there is also annexure number 1 which is attached just below the form GST RFD01, and in that annexure there is a lot of statement like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There is a lot of statement. So statement number 2, 3 or 3A may be applicable, means from these 3 statement one statement will be applicable on you. It will depend whether you are taking the option with payment of tax or without payment of tax. So you have to now check out your cases, like your cases will be fall either into statement number 2 or 3 or 3A. So fill out that statement number 2, 3A and attach this with the form GSTR FD01. And also for documentary purposes, like for evidence purposes, there is also rule, which is rule number 89, sub rule number 2, clause number C, which is regarding the export of service. And it says that for export of service you have to give the following evidence, like a statement containing the number and date of invoice and the relevant bank realization certificate or foreign inward remittance certificate, as the case may be. So from foreign inward remittance certificate or bank realization certificate, there will be only one case applicable, so you have to decide which case will be applicable. In case where the refund is on account of export of service, so in case of export of service you have to give the statement containing the name, containing the number and date of invoice, and the statement will be the same like statement number 2, 3A. So you have to attach it with the GSTR FD01 and the relevant bank realization certificate or foreign inward remittance certificate in case of an export of service. So that's how that will work. The proof is like bank realization certificate or the foreign inward remittance certificate, and because in case of export of service there cannot be shipping bill, so no need to give the shipping bill detail for claiming the refund. Please check out rule number 89, sub rule number 2, clause number 3 for documentary evidences purposes. Shipping bill will not be applicable on export of service. It will also only be applicable in case of export of goods. So first fill out form number GSTR FD01, attach the statement 2, 3 or 3A as may be applicable on you, and give the documentary evidence like the bank realization certificate or foreign inward remittance certificate as the case may be. Next question, Anita Chaudhary, she is asking, if we opt for the compulsion scheme under GST, the restaurant should not deliver the food via e-commerce operator like Zomato, Foodpanda and Swiggy. Is that true? So she is asking me, like in case of a compulsion dealer, so whether it is mandatory to not sell the goods or not sell the service of restaurant from the e-commerce operator like the Zomato, Foodpanda and the Swiggy. So before to answer this question, let me just tell you why she is asking me about applicability in case supplying the restaurant service from the Foodpanda, Zomato or Swiggy. So first of all, e-commerce operator and also its provision, like Flipkart operators like Flipkart, eBay and the Paytm, like these things, and the Swiggy, Foodpanda or Zomato is different thing. Both in my opinion, both e-commerce operator works in a different model. Like Flipkart is doing what thing, like supplier, like recipient. I am the recipient, I am a common person. I make the payment to the Flipkart retains the payment and he deduct his commission and then forward those charges or those payment to the supplier. So in the Flipkart is an agency, you can say, which retains his portion or which which retains completely transaction cost, completely means he collects the amount from the recipient and then make the payment to the supplier. So he is like in the two section, like for the supplier and recipient, he is middle way, and whatever amount the recipient pays directly to the Flipkart, then Flipkart make the payment to the supplier. So the transaction is not between the supplier and the recipient, the transaction is between the recipient and then the Flipkart and then the Flipkart to the supplier. So that's how it will move. But in case of a Zomato or Foodpanda or Swiggy, the transaction moves in a different way. The recipient directly make the payment to the supplier. The Foodpanda or that Swiggy just charge the amount from the supplier, like his service cost. So in these cases, because recipient directly make the payment to the supplier, not to the Swiggy or not to the Foodpanda, so the model is different. Flipkart retains or collect the amount from the recipient, but Foodpanda does not retain the amount from the customer or the recipient. So that's how it will work. Both models is different. And if you will check the applicability of the TCS or section number 52, section number 52 subsection number 1 says that e-commerce, like the TCS provisions applicable only for those e-commerce operator where consideration with respect to such supplies is to be collected by the operator. So it means that TCS provision is applicable in case of those electronic commerce operator who collect the amount from the recipient. So therefore, in case of a Flipkart, because the Flipkart collects the amount from the recipient, so therefore TCS provision will be applicable on Flipkart. But Swiggy or Foodpanda does not collect the amount from the recipient, so therefore Foodpanda will not be under the TCS provision. So remember that Foodpanda and the Flipkart both are different model. In the Flipkart that will be covered under TCS, but Foodpanda will not be covered under TCS. Now coming to back to your question, whether you can take the compulsion scheme if you are a restaurant and owner and supplying the goods or supplying your restaurant related service through the Foodpanda. So section number 10 subsection number 2 deals with the condition for opting for the compulsion scheme. Then clause number D is regarding one of the condition, and it says that compulsion scheme cannot be taken if he can take the compulsion scheme if he is not engaged in making any supply of goods through the electronic commerce operator who is required to collect tax as source under section number 52. So if the person who is supplying the goods and he is supplying the goods through the electronic commerce operator, and the electronic commerce operator is required to collect the tax at source under section 52, then those person cannot take the compulsion scheme. But in case of a Foodpanda Swiggy, because you know that the Foodpanda Swiggy is not required to collect TCS, so therefore this provision like section number 10 subsection number 2 clause number D will not be applicable. So simply put, those person who are supplying the service of restaurant from the Foodpanda, Swiggy or others like this will or can take the compulsion scheme, but those person who are dealing with the Flipkart, eBay or Amazon cannot take the compulsion scheme if he or those person are making the supply through these electronic commerce operator, because those electronic commerce operator need to collect TCS, but Foodpanda, Swiggy need not to collect TCS. So therefore those provision of section number 52 will not be applicable on case of a Foodpanda or Swiggy. So therefore those person can take the compulsion scheme and they will be fully compliant with section number 10 subsection number 2 clause number D. So therefore it will work. But in the case of those person who are supplying through Flipkart, just for your record, the ICI also asked the government to remove this clause from the act, because a lot of people really nowadays supply the goods through the eBay or Amazon. So therefore it will really be hardship for those person who are making the supply to the e-commerce operator. So ICI recommend to the government to remove this condition so that people who are supplying through e-commerce operator can also take the compulsion scheme. So that's how whenever they will rectify the act, then I will definitely tell you by way of video. Next is the appreciating comment. The MD Yusuf is asking or telling me the best video on GTA on YouTube so far with detailed analysis. The topic of GTA had been made confused by subsequent amendment. Hats off to you. Keep up the good work. 10 out of 10. So he is giving me the 10 out of 10 and he's saying me that hats off to you, and you explain the provision of GST with such a nice word. And because there is a lot of confusion regarding the GTA because of the subsequent amendment, and I gave the topic, deliver the topic in a perfect manner so that every person can understand it. I really thank you for Yusuf for giving such a nice compliment. This kind of a compliment really motivate me to make more such video. Here I gave you the detailed analysis or detailed provision in the simple manner so that you guys can also educate about the GST. So that was a quick video regarding the comment section, which you guys asked me on the comment section, and I reply with a separate video. I love this, by the way. I love this kind of video, and if you have the query, ask on the comment section. I will definitely reply by way of video. That would be really cool. Alright guys, so now we will meet again in the next video. Till then, bye bye.